Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Andrea and today I'm going to show you how to make my Grandma Isla's almond bars. So I remember her making these usually at Christmas time and not very often, so but they were very good. So she gave me the recipe many years ago, and I've enjoyed them ever since. So they're kind of a pastry. So we're gonna make the dough first, and it's gonna have to chill for a little while, and then we'll make the filling and then bake them. So I'm gonna tip the camera down so you can see what I'm doing, and we'll get to it. All right, so in my bowl I've got 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I have not sifted it. My flour is fairly fresh, so it wasn't clumpy at all. If yours is a little clumpy, then by all means you could sift it. So just scoop out your 2 cups and then go ahead and do a sift. And then I've got 2 sticks of cold butter, and I'm just going to grate this butter in here because it's much easier for me to get it all mixed in this way. If you don't like to do it this way, you can definitely chop it into little bits. You could even use a food processor and put your flour in there and your butter and pulse it, and then you'll add your water as you go. So, but I'm just gonna do it this way. That's 1 stick. And I'm using salted butter. This recipe did not call for any salt in the pastry itself, so the salted butter will help to just add a little bit to it without it being obvious. So break that in there. And for this, I'm just going to use my hands to mix it. You could use a fork, you could use a pastry blender, just whatever you feel most comfortable using. All right. All right, so we're just gonna kind of toss this, and really we're just looking to kind of coat the flour onto the butter. We want to make quick work at it because we don't want to melt our butter, although we are going to chill this. You want to make quick work of this, so I'm just pressing it in between my fingers, just working it in there till I feel like I've got it fairly mixed in. You want it to just really look really crumbly, which it kind of does, but we want it just a little bit finer than that even. And like I said, you can use your food processor for this if you would prefer, and it will make quicker work of it even than this. So, okay, so it's pretty good. So you can see that it's fairly got some chunks in it. If I press it together, it's already going to hold just a little bit. And then we're going to take a 1/2 cup of water, and I'm going to put part of it in, kind of work it in here, and just dump the rest in. And then just mix it in till you get it all mixed. It doesn't take much. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to clean this off my hands, and then we are going to divide this and wrap it and chill it. Now her recipe didn't say how long to chill it, so And from when I made it before, I don't quite remember how long I chilled it. It's been a while since I've made them. So we're just gonna chill it for probably an hour to 2 hours. We really just want it to be firm when we take it out because we're gonna roll this out. All right, so we're gonna divide it. And by dividing this into two separate chunks, that's going to help for it to chill quicker too. So let's get another piece of plastic, and I'm just wrapping this in plastic wrap. So you know. All right. So let's just try to get it as even as possible. That's pretty good. Okay. So we're just going to put that there. And then I'm just going to fold this over, and then I'm just going to kind of press this, kind of flatten it out a little bit, basically making a disc. And then I'm just going to pull that to the side, and that to the side, and then over, just like so. And then we'll do the other one. There we go. This way and this way. All right. All right, so we're just going to pop these in the fridge for a couple of hours. And then when we come back, I'll show you how to put it together. All right, so we're going to make the filling for our almond bars, and very few ingredients. So we're going to need 2 whole eggs. I'm using large eggs, and then a half a teaspoon of vanilla, a cup of sugar, and then 8 ounces of almond paste. Now you're going to want to make sure, you don't have to get this brand, but you want to make sure that you're getting almond paste. Don't get something else. They used to carry some other types of almond paste that wasn't actually paste. It was a little more liquidy. So you want the actual paste, which looks like this, if I can get it out of this package. So it's going to look like this, almost like a brick. So just like that, that's what you want. So a whole 8 ounces. This brand just comes in an 8-ounce package. So it's been around for years. I used it many years ago. This may have even been the same kind that my grandmother used. I don't know. So in our mixer, I'm just going to put this 1 cup of granulated sugar, and then I'm going to put the almond paste, but I'm going to kind of just break it up a bit. And thankfully this one is not super hard. If yours is really hard, which just means it's older and been sitting around a while, you're going to really want to work it apart. But this one is actually fairly fresh, so fairly soft. And before I add the eggs and the vanilla, I'm going to just kind of mix this a little bit on the stand mixer, just to try to kind of get that sugar mixed with it a little. Now, when I made it before, I made it by hand, and it was quite the task. So it's been a long time since I've actually made these, so the stand mixer will definitely come in handy. So I'm going to go ahead and add the half teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to go ahead and add the 2 eggs. I turned that up on high to really try to get it beaten well. I scrape down the bowl. Get that little bit in the center that never gets well incorporated. Okay, so we're just going to set this aside. And then I have a couple of paper towels that I just got damp. So I'm just going to lay those there and then lay my board there. That's going to keep it from sliding around. Mine used to have little rubber feet on there, but I've had it for so long that the glue finally loosened up and it's just not there anymore. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of flour. I do have a 9 by 13 baking sheet. So this is just your standard 9 by 13 cake pan, oblong cake pan. I've got a sheet of parchment that I've just put in there kind of long ways or sideways. So it's sticking up a little bit because I want to be able to pull it out of the pan when it's done. So we had our dough that we put together earlier, and it has chilled for a couple of hours. So I'm just going to take, let's leave that one over there. I'm going to take 1/2 and I'm just going to kind of get a little bit of flour. I don't want a lot of flour on it, just a little bit. And then just going to kind of work it here a little. If you had chilled this for, you know, like overnight or something, it's going to be super firm. So it might take a little bit more work. And then I'm just going to add just a touch of flour to my rolling pin here. And then we're just going to roll it out. So I'm just going to kind of work it here a little bit. I want to kind of make sure it's not sticking. Turn it and roll it. Just kind of keeping that flour there. Now I want to kind of roll it in an oblong shape because our pan is oblong. And just trying to get it as even as we can. Now we want it just a little bit bigger than the 9 by 13 size because we want to bring it up on the sides a little bit. So my cutting board is a little bigger than the 9 by 13 pan. So if I get this out to about that size, then I know that I'm about the right, got the right amount. So, all right. And this dough is super, 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 super soft. So we're just going to try our best. To get it up and off of here. Okay. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's really warm in here, so it is really getting super soft. We're going to have to patch it. All right. All right. This happens sometimes. So this dough is not like your regular like pie dough. Try and move this just a little bit. There we go. It's pretty warm in my house today, so that's not helping the dough. All of that butter just melting immediately. Here we go. So we've got it up on the sides a little bit here. We're missing some, so I'm going to do some patchwork. And yes, this kind of stuff just happens sometimes when you're baking. So I've got this dough, and I know this one's not going to need to come up on the sides, so I'm going to kind of tear a little off there. Cut it. So you can see what I'm doing. I've just placed it in my pan here with my uber soft dough and just kind of pieced it in. And then I'm going to do the same with this one on the side. All right. So now we're just going to roll this one out. This one we don't need larger than the 9 by 13. You can see that it's going to go right on top there. And I am going to cut just a little bit off this end here. Alright, this side just does not want to stay up, so I'm going to have to kind of hold it till I get this in. just going to kind of spread this out. It's kind of thick and sticky. Might want to use, let's use an offset spatula. This will probably work a little better. There we go. All right, now we're just going to take our other dough here, and we're just going to put it right on top. There we go. This is not like, it's not like a pie. So we're just going to kind of work our dough that's on the sides down just a little bit. There we go. And then we're just going to kind of like you would a pie, just kind of crimp it a little bit. This dough is very, very delicate. You may think, oh, that doesn't look very pretty, but we're going to cut these into bars, so you're not really going to see the whole pan as one. That's not how you're going to serve it. So, okay, so we're going to bake this in a 400 degree oven for about 30 to 35 minutes. So when we come back, I'll pull it out of the pan and cut it into bars so you can see what it looks like. All right, so our almond bars are done. I did bake them for 35 minutes. So I pulled them out of the pan. The reason I put the parchment paper in there the way I did was so that I could just lift it out, easy peasy. The pan, just rinse it out and you're good. So they've been sitting here for about 10 minutes, so they're still really warm. My pastry did bubble up quite a bit, so I just punctured a few holes in there, put a paper towel over it because it's so steamy in there, and just kind of lightly pressed it to get it to go back down. If it had cooled that way, it would have been domed and it would have just busted up when I cut it. So that got the air out of there. So we're going to attempt to cut these. They're still a bit warm, but I want you to see them. So, and you can cut these just whatever size you want. But I'm just going to kind of cut it like so. And then we're just going to cut them into pieces about that big. That gives you just a couple of bites, just the right size. There we go. And let's see if we can get this one. So you can see just how flaky that dough is with all that butter that was in there. You can see the almond filling in the center there. So we'll just put some of these on our plate. Whoops. we go. Try to clean it up a little bit, all those crumbs. It's just so flaky. All right. And there you have my Grandma Isla's almond bars. I hope you enjoy.